play with confidence. Serves it inside 50.
Inside 50, good hands.
Drilling it into centre half forward. That was end-to-end football at its best.
Back-to-back goals either side of quarter time.
They have done it, the Bulldogs!
I'd find somebody for you. There ain't no wall I will run through. In your corner when you're ringing the bell. Come hell or high water. I'd find somebody for you.
Yes, hello WAFL fans. Welcome one and all to another big edition of Around the WAFL on the Around the WAFL YouTube channel and on your podcast service. And Around the WAFL, a production and amalgamation of the WA Sporting Hub with Front Row Screens and Associates. Thanks so much for your company on this Thursday as we look ahead to another huge weekend of WAFL football. A preview of the WAFL Round 3 and Round 4 of the WAFL W, which is also carrying plenty of intrigue, and also a big on location this week surrounding a South Fremantle superstar who's crossed the port on the eve of 2026. And as you may see, to my right, it's not Ethan Roth this week, sadly. He's been caught up in an emergency, so we do wish Rothy all the very best over the next week or so. But we've got a more than suitable fill-in. He's not only the president of Perth, but a WA football legend, the great Adrian Barich. Thanks for coming in, Barra.
Well, great to be here. I don't know about the legend thing, but people are probably thinking, geez, Ethan's put on a bit of weight, slimmed down to a block of flats, all that sort of stuff. So, no, it's great to be here in nice studios and... mate, always happy to talk waffle, as you know. I absolutely love the product, and I think we're flying this year. And we were on the end of a buzzsaw on the weekend, and I can tell you all about that in a moment.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to hearing about that, no doubt about it. Of course, we'll preview the big waffle action that is coming up this weekend. We've got 5 big matches, 4 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And, of course, the WAFL W weekend split over 2 days. And, Barrett, this is something I'm really looking forward to as well. Went on location to South Fremantle this week, and Ash Gomes, who left the crosstown rivals under controversial circumstances, I spoke with her during training, rediscovered the love of the game after the closed season.
Yes, well, that has I've been sort of involved in that a little bit because my coach, Steph, she presented the jumper to Ash before the first game, before the derby, and because they had the close relationship from East Fremantle. So I don't know if she inspired her or what, but South Fremantle had a big win, I know that, and Ash played very well. So, yeah, good to see her going well. I'm trying to work out how she's not playing for Perth, actually, but anyway.
Well, I'd love to know, because that was the first club that Ash Gomes was offered by, as you may know, but we'll have more of that later on in the show. Now, let's get to some of the big news before we have Caleb Datson. He's ready to go on standby. Some big news out of East Perth. Cooper Stevens, he won't play this weekend against East Fremantle. He was suspended for 1 match.
Yes, well, I feel like Charlie Constable's probably pretty happy about that, isn't he? Because his Sandover race suddenly is a bit narrower now. Charlie, I think, had 39 or 38 on the weekend, he might have got a couple of votes there, 1 or 2 votes. Certainly mightn't have got the 3 because we got absolutely belted. But I tried to get that young man to our club, and it was interesting. I'm not sure why he didn't come to Perth in the end, and then he did his knee, and we thought, oh, well, in some ways we were probably a bit lucky. But he has bounced back magnificently, and he's a real talent, and copped a week, though. I was surprised he accepted it. Sometimes there's no option. You really have to go down that path. Takes him out of Sandover medal contention, but I guess he's got his eye on a bigger prize, which should be the premiership.
Absolutely, after 2 grand final losses in a row. But of course, Cooper will miss the Saturday night game against East Fremantle down at Sullivan Logistics Stadium. And also in the WAFL W, Jack Schwartz, of course, is a reigning premiership coach at Claremont. He's going to have a 3rd crack at trying to beat South Australia in the state game this May. He got reappointed as state coach.
Yeah, he looks like a real handy operator, and I think he'll go a long way, that fellow, because I'm very close to Scotty Moore, who was our Colts coach at Perth.
Made the grand final a few years ago.
Yeah, and now is in Tasmania running their talent program and their under 18s and that. And now might be breaking news, knowing you probably know it already, but he's been appointed the Allies coach for the under 18 competition. Right. So he's got to bring together Northern Territory and all the rest of the states that are ACT and the rest of it, New South Wales, all into one team. So big news for Scotty Moore, and we've got a guy at our club called Darren Denneman who ran all the academies for Sydney Swans and the Giants, and created blokes like Callum Mills. Or when I say created, you hate me saying that, but he had a lot to do with Callum Mills, Patrick Voss, even Job Shanahan. Just brought through all these great kids. he's doing that for us now, and he was a big rap for Scotty Moore, and he gave him a big leg up at Tasmania, and now Scotty Moore, down there coaching, and now the Allies coach for the under-18s.
Yeah, so big coaching appointments all around the nation, not just with Schwartzy being the women's state coach for West Australia, aiming to beat South Australia over there on May 16th at Leederville Oval. Fans, get your tickets now for that one. You do not want to miss out. Okay, let's get right down to business, Barra. Of course, the West Coast Eagles are on a high after a big win over West Perth last Sunday, and they aim to repeat it against Subiaco on Sunday morning out at Mineral Resources Park. And Caleb Datson, who many South Fremantle fans may know as a former Bulldog, he's made his way over to Eagle Land, and he's good enough to join us here to talk about that Sunday game against the Lions. Caleb, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Paul.
Great to have you on. Great to have you on the show, Caleb. Let's go back to that Sunday game against West Perth. I spoke with Callum Jamieson after the game, and he complimented that about the team celebrating the little things in that game, those little moments that make such a big difference in the game. What do you think of those? Some of the moments that stood out to you in that second half when you guys pulled away?
I don't think there was necessarily a huge shift in anything that we did, but I just think, like you mentioned, we were celebrating the small things. We were persistent with what we were doing and our game plan and what we wanted from it. And then in the end, we were able to sort of switch momentum, I guess, and get a few goals in a row, which gave us huge belief and obviously got us over the line in the end.
Hey, Caleb, do you feel like you have a good home ground advantage there, a bit like we do, the Perth Footy Club, because we share the grounds with you guys, of course, and it is a unique surface in that it's pristine. Some of the other WAFL clubs maybe not so. And, and especially at night games, I know you play a lot of morning games, but there's the surface and the ground itself spectacular, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, it's one of our favourite grounds to play at because it's looked after so well. But I don't think it's necessarily a great home ground advantage. I'd like to think that we could go anywhere and beat anyone.
Well, you certainly did that in that round 2 game against West Perth, and it's the second time in 3 years that you guys have done that against the Falcons in recent times. Tell me about a couple of players that were really impressive over the weekend. Sasha Kernett had a bit of time in midfield. That provided the spark for the Eagles. Jack Williams, he's taking his claim for a Western Derby call-up with 4 goals. And also Clay Hall and Tyrell Dewar, who are one of the more consistent midfield standouts for the Eagles side. How do you think they will perform against Subiaco, who are expected to be a bit tougher opposition?
Yeah, so Sasha's new to the Eagles this year, and he's just shown that he's consistent every week. So I think we'll get the same performance from him this week, which has been a really handy inclusion for us. Jack Williams, he kicked a handy 4 on the weekend, so it'd be good to have him, but also we wouldn't be too disappointed if he got a late call up for the Derby this week. So wishing him the best with that. And then Tyrell and Clay Hall, they seem to just offer us the value every week. So I would expect the same as previous weeks from them.
Now, I'm a bit confused about one bloke in your team. I know, obviously, Elliot Yeo probably is going to come into the Eagles AFL side, so it might block that role because Robinson's gone out with that terrible knee injury. Devon Robinson, world's best bloke, came through Perth, Northern, all the rest of it, terrible. But Finn McRae's the guy I wanted to ask you about because he lives with one of our players, Charlie Dean, and they lived together in Cottesloe, can you believe, in a house together. So when we played you guys, they drove to the ground together, and one went in one entrance and one went in the other entrance. I'll see you on the field, mate. We obviously he got the bragging rights, Charlie Dean, that day. But Finn McRae, how's he travelling and his prospects? Would he be a silly chance even to come in this week with Robertson out?
Oh, he's been great. I can only talk on his performances for us, so we don't necessarily have too much to do with the AFL program. And I've only got to know him over the few games that we've played together so far. So. I think he's putting his best foot forward and putting in strong performances with us each week. So, that's probably as much as I'd know.
Bit of a morning clash with Subiaco on Sunday, but it should be a great game nonetheless as you look to make it 2 wins in a row in 2026. Caleb, we really appreciate your time on Around the Waffle. All the best on Sunday.
Thanks for having me.
That was
See you,
Caleb
mate.
Datson from the West Coast Eagles joining us here on Around the Waffle.
Did you say he's from the Bulldogs?
Yeah, former South Fremantle player. Yes.
Oh, the South Fremantle Bulldogs,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I-
They're Western Bulldogs, South Fremantle, without wishing to confuse anybody.
Yeah, I thought you meant the Western Bulldogs because I was just having a laugh because did you see Prince Harry wandering around?
Oh, no. Imagine if there was royalty that was either at Perth or at West Perth or any of the Waffle clubs. Now, that would be a sight to behold.
Mate, what's the oval called now? Whitten Oval?
Whitten Oval.
Whitten Oval, mate. All I know is that he'd be in a bit of shock from what he saw because I don't know what it's like nowadays. I mean, it's probably magnificent, but when we first went there in the late 80s, the Eagles, we thought we were on a different planet. Seriously, when we got off the plane and got on the bus, we went out to Footscray, and I hope they're not watching. It was like, whoa, what's happened here?
It's a different world, isn't it?
It was like names we couldn't pronounce, things we'd never seen. And then you go to this oval where the coach's box is on the far side of the Doug Hawkins wing. I got stuck out there playing against Doug Hawkins on the wing,
Dougie.
one-on-one. Can you imagine what that was like?
That would have been
He was
something.
Unbeatable, and it was rough as guts. And they tried to bash us, and they tried to say things, if you go near the ball, I'm going to smash you, and all that sort of stuff, which, we're a bit mature by then. We sort of going, what are you talking about, you idiot? So it didn't work. And it was actually the Eagles' first ever proper game. It was like a game out at the Western Oval.
Western Oval, yeah.
Western
Whitten
Oval,
Oval
those
now it
days,
is
yeah.
then.
And then we kicked on from there.
Yeah, no doubt about
But I
it.
was just thinking, I just see Prince Harry walking around. That was.
I'd love to see royalty at a Waffle Club someday. No doubt about that. Thanks to Caleb for joining us here on Around the Waffle. Let the banter and fun continue after the break here on Around the Waffle. We're supported by Sullivan Logistics, proud supporters of Waffle 2026, Grant's Car Stereo, front row screens, and of course District Promotions down in East Vic Park. We'll preview all the Waffle action right after this.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
And you're back with us here on Around the Waffle. Paul Persick and Adrian Barich, the president of the Perth Football Club, and of course on Channel 7 doing the sports. Great job he always does on the TV screens. And of course he's here filling in for Ethan Roth. Rothy, of course, stuck in an emergency. We do wish Rothy all the very best. Round 3, Barrett, of Waffle action, and somewhat fittingly, we begin with your mob, the Perth Football Club, looking to bounce back after a loss to South Fremantle. They take on Peel Thunder at Lane Group Stadium in Mandurah, 110 on 7+. Now, this is a big game for your side because you did beat Peel twice last year, and especially a statement win in round 18, which sealed Perth's spot in the finals. Perth, of course, they did get a bit of a wake-up call, didn't they, as far as their performance against South Fremantle, but it could serve them well.
Well, I guess we probably should talk about that game. South Fremantle are the outright premiership favourites, in my opinion.
The call.
Mate, they were unbelievable. They had everyone going. Matty Parker, he must hate us because he came through our system, and I think we let him go.
Yeah.
So every time he plays against us, he absolutely goes as hard as he could. How good was Matty Parker?
Oh, he was brilliant. It was his first game for the year.
And Rusco was flying. They brought their best players back in. They had everyone. We had a couple out. Schlingy and Patton and Co were out, and our man... Parfitt did a groinage, so he'll probably miss a couple of weeks as well. So
he's a big blow.
And we just ran into a buzzsaw. Sometimes you're the windscreen, sometimes you're the bloody insect, and we were the insect this time. Round one, we were the windscreen, as Moldess would say. But what was interesting was they were ready, so ready for us, and I think our people were as well, but we went down there. They were celebrating their flag. They had a parachutist.
They did, yeah.
He brings the freaking flag.
Flew about 35,000 feet.
They loaded up their team. They were ready to go. They said, we're going to put this team back in their box. We're going to show them who the Kings are. And they just served it up to us. So it was great. Not a wake-up call, more just... we were a little bit happy with ourselves after that round one and probably kicked too many goals. We kicked 23. I think we kicked 23 goals.
23 in round one and then only 5 in the second round.
And I think we thought that it was going to happen every week like that. And one of our boys kicked 7, and Jono kicked 6, and Clarkey kicked 7. It was 6-7, 6-7 a week.
No.
And all this
Can't believe I've seen that here on Around the Waffle.
I know. So, it was kind of, we hadn't kicked that many goals this century. This century.
Not since 97.
Yeah, so sometimes it's a learning process, and I think our guys sort of went, maybe they're trying to get on top of it. Also, the South Fremantle defence, led by Ethan Hughes, is unbelievable. So, massive game this week. We'll talk about it a bit later on when Claremont play against them. And if Claremont are to win, you've got to score. You can't just defend against South Fremantle. You've got to score, and you've got to find other avenues. So they're going to have to go through not just Hunter. They're going to have to go all over the joint. And we that Ethan Hughes, I'd tag him. I would tag him because, mate, he just sets it up. He's a genius. And they were triple teaming Aaron Clark.
They were,
and because we kept going to Clark, they knew where the ball would go.
And that would be a fair assessment to say that the forward line, to some extent, was a bit predictable because if they kept going to Clark and Johnson, and if Peel were able to expose that on Saturday against the Demons at Lane Group Stadium, it could be a long afternoon for the Demons. And why I say that, because you look at the likes of Sharp from midfield. He was a sharp goal-kicking mid, kicking 3 goals. Mason Cox, as likely as it seems, he'll play in the Derby on Sunday. If he somehow doesn't get selected, he could have his way with Josh Edwards in the ruck. And also Kylan Sanders and Charlie Nichols, that good running game. I saw them against Claremont on Saturday. I reckon if they can get that running game going from the first minute, it could leave the Demons flat-footed. Having said that...
I noticed you didn't tip us, so that's why you've made that case, right?
I have made the case for Peel Fun only because it's at home and it's only because it's at Lane Group Stadium. But
who were you talking to that time? Because the other bloke tipped us, didn't he?
Yeah, Ethan tipped the Demons.
Yeah. So he's a good judge. Not saying you aren't, but
I know.
But Mason Cox will be a big out.
It is,
and we may have Schlingy back.
Big boost.
Yeah. And
what about Payton?
No, still a bit longer there, and I think Parf's going to miss a couple. And I think we'll probably bring a couple of the young blokes in, Jake Watson and that from the Rezzies. So I think we'll give a pretty good account of ourselves. We certainly, got the kick in the bum that we needed, and at this time of the year, because there's been a lot of chatter about Perth, hasn't there?
There has, yes.
We haven't won since 77, by the way. We haven't won a premiership since 1977. In fact, this year is our 50-year anniversary of our 76 grand premiership and the 60-year anniversary of our 66. So all our greats are coming to the club on Anzac Day. So if you're doing something on Anzac Day for the Waffle this great show, it'll be East Perth versus Perth, and we beat them in East Perth in both those grand finals. Yeah, in both those grand finals.
Both grand finals,
of 66, 76. So a lot of their champions will be at the place as well. And so we'll be setting up for that. So our year has all been sort of evolving to be part of that, to sort of let's challenge for the finals. Can we reach a prelim now that we've won one final? So there's been a lot of chatter, and sometimes you lose track of that you just got to win as well, and just got to every week is a grind, and you can't look too far ahead. And I think the boys understand that now, and I think you'll find we'll be a different team this weekend.
I think so. You and Rothy have gone with Perth. I've gone with Peel. Make a good case for Peel as well, especially through their midfield.
Well, they got 14 Dockers, right?
Yeah, they had 13 against Claremont on Saturday, and they've relaxed the cap for 14 because of the extra man on the field.
Yeah, and you'd think with the fact that the Dockers have no real injuries, and everyone will be back. Hayden Young will be back, won't he?
He will.
And I think Fredericks will play against us.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah, so he's going to take a bit of looking after. I saw at training today, Jager O'Meara got hurt.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, so perhaps he may not play because he would have been the tag for Harley Reid, right?
He would have been.
Yeah, so if he comes out then and Young goes in, I don't think Frederick will play, but you never know, they might chuck him in there. So they'll have, but whatever we're saying is that Field will have a very good side. And you're right about Sharp, he's on fire. So we might put Baxter Phillip on him, who's having a great season, great young pace, as quick as him and can cover the ground as well. I saw one of the commentators call him Philip Baxter.
Yes.
Could you just clear that up for us?
It's Baxter Phillip.
Can you go back to that guy? Whoever the guy who was commentating with you, you must have started laughing, did you?
No, I just kept myself very
Philip
quiet. It's a nice name
So
in
you know what
reverse.
his nickname is at Perth now?
What is
Philip Baxter.
That is brilliant. But all the best to the Demons and the Thunder nonetheless for a big one on Saturday. Now, I'm heading down to this one. Steel Blue Oval, second game. Swan Districts and West Perth on 7+. Both sides yet to crack it for a win after 2 straight losses. But they have been competitive, and I say more so Swan Districts over the last 2 weeks because they've been able to hang with the top sides for 3 quarters. Just haven't been able to put it together in the last quarter, but they do have more players coming back who spent a lot of last year out with injury. West Perth, they've got to bounce back after the loss to the Eagles, and they've got a couple of injury worries. Aaron Black, bruised ribs. Will he come back? He got him scanned this week. Luke Meadows is still far away with his ankle injury, but the biggest one for me, Barra, is Noah Pecoraro, key defender. Arthritis issue in his right knee. Fingers crossed he does get a positive opinion, but it seems unlikely that he will play again. So West Perth are under the hammer at the moment as far as injuries are concerned.
Yeah, Pecoraro, all the feedback has been it could be season over, which blew me away. I mean, it's a bit like you're a young bloke, you would understand, but arthritis, I used to think it was a joke. Now I've got it. It's not a joke.
No.
It's a serious thing, mate. And I understand him when it's got Pecoraro, so that's a huge out. And their other big midfielder, West Perth's other big midfielder, he didn't play last week either.
Luke Meadows.
Yeah.
He's still some weeks away.
Yeah, so they're missing him as well. And Blackie's on track for 300 soon.
Yeah,
isn't he?
300
games?
this season.
300 games.
Speaking of milestones,
You
it's
know,
another one.
we can't get to 150, our blokes.
Yeah, that's true. But
Because that's life membership. So
that is.
We haven't had Michael Sinclair, and that's about the last bloke. I think Willie Dick was the guy before that for 150.
That's right.
We might get Matty Taylor and perhaps Corey Byrne. But we can't get to 150. How they've got to 300? Him and Nelson almost. You know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's in modern WAFL 300 would be like immortality in this day and age. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly.
There is a milestone on Saturday. Tyler Keitel, the West Perth key forward, is playing game 200, TK 200. It's been all over the West Perth socials.
He's a belter, that guy. I cannot believe he never got a shot at the AFL. Seriously. Where's the camera? Seriously, I can't believe Tyler Keitel did not play in the AFL. He is a very, very good player. Cohen Livingston plays for West Perth as well. I'm not sure why Cohen didn't come back to us. He was our player from York. Yeah. Went to the Eagles. We highly rated him. I really rated him. Fantastic young bloke. Played with my son in the Colts when they made the grand final. He missed the grand final against Claremont. Probably would have won if he played because he had a back fracture or something. But I think he thought he wouldn't get a game because we've got too many tools. As it turns out, we've had Glass McCasker in the twos.
That's right.
Who has been an AFL player and is a very good player. So maybe Cohen knew something, but he's probably thinking maybe he needed to go. He did come back to Perth. But anyway, I hope he goes well. I think Swan Districts will win this game, though how pumped up will West Perth be? Because they won't want to get fixed up 3 weeks in a row, particularly after losing to the Eagles.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to lose 3 in a row, especially first full season under their new coach. Rothy's gone with West Perth. He presents a very good case on that, especially with their running players and their young faces as well, looking pretty good.
It's that Bazzo, though, isn't it?
Yeah, Bazzo. Bassendine, the rowdy Cambar is always going to be in full noise. Can't wait to be there, yeah. Slightly cooler conditions, but hopefully the rain will stay away in the afternoon.
That's a big game. That is a big game because they're the winless teams, right?
Yeah, both 2 winless teams.
So there'll only be one winless team and one team undefeated.
That's right.
At the end of this round.
But the gap's not that big. It's not that big at the moment. Of course, West Perth won in round 1 last year, and the Swans turned the tide, coming back in the second half to win by 11. I've gone with the Swans at home. Should be a close one, but I just feel they've got a lot more class and composure, especially from their experienced players that have been back in the side for a couple of weeks now after their injury spells. So Swan Districts for me in a close one. I reckon West Perth will be competitive, but the Swans for me, that'll be a real tight tussle in the end. Now this one's going to be a cracker. Live on Channel 7, the clash of the two unbeaten teams at 2:40 on Saturday, the Bulldogs and Claremont. This one's going to be a showdown like the classics of old.
Well, I'll have recency bias, and I'll just go South Fremantle because they were unbelievable. If they play anything like that, I don't even know Claremont's going to score. I mean, we have a great forward line. They do too, of course. They've got a couple of tools down there, including our man Hunter. It was our bloke.
That's right.
We put him through. We looked after him.
Don't forget Zach Mainwaring as well. He's another one of those small forwards who's evolved his game a little bit.
Yeah, and plays through the midfield as well. Young Pearce in the back line.
Jasper Peace, in the back line.
Yeah, a friend of my son's. Yeah, they've got some really, really good players, Claremont. I think Claremont has surprised me. They took the big decision to let go Jai Bolton, and I think that was, I don't know, I'm not saying that's what's changed things, but sometimes when the older guys go out and the young guys get opportunity, it does create opportunity, and it also creates a lot of excitement and a lot of energy. And Jai was such a great player that you wouldn't have thought that you could replace him, but they have, and they've played very, very good footy. This is going to be a cracking game. Is it at Fremantle?
It is at Fremantle Oval, second home game for the Bulldogs in as many weeks.
Yeah, feels like the Bulldogs probably just roll on. We played them into form.
Yeah, I think you did. But, they only, wrapped it up in the last quarter against Swan Districts. But you're looking at their round 2 game against Perth. While they led all day, they didn't put the Demons away until the second half. But having said that, they had a lot more of the ball.
They would have put us away.
They would have,
18 behind.
18 behinds too. Not very pleasant often.
And I think Claremont struggled for a little bit, didn't they? And then they came good towards the end. But they have got a very good team. And I think Ash Prescott has worked it out now. And the way that he is using young Mainwaring, fantastic to see as well. And shades of his old man.
Yeah, absolutely. And, of course, a couple of tall forwards like Talon DeLacy, who kicked 4 goals in round 1. Struggled a little bit because Peel took the run out of Claremont's game up until the last quarter. I reckon he's going to have a big impact against a very strong South Fremantle backline led by Ethan Hughes. I've gone with Claremont because of the likes of Rogers, Mainwaring, DeLacy. And don't forget Gowdy in the ruck and can shift up forward a little bit, and Ollie Eastland.
Yeah, well, you know who the killer was last week? England.
He was the destroyer.
He's a Sandover medalist, isn't he?
Sandover medalist of 24.
Mate, he was on fire.
He was.
Yeah, so you almost turned him around, but no. Having seen the Bulldogs obliterate us, I'm staying with them.
You're staying with the Bulldogs. Rothy's gone with the Bulldogs as well. I guess I'm the odd one out then. I'm going with the Tigers. It's going to be a fantastic game. Make no mistake about that. Then we go to the final game of the Saturday, live on 7+ from Leederville. 5:10 start. Love a day-night game. East Perth and East Fremantle, both sides with their first win on the board last week. This one's shaping up to be a real cracker. And the East Fremantle side, they have got themselves back into some good form. They played some great football against Subiaco, coming from behind and winning the match. Liam Robinson, I'm going to be keeping my eyes on him on Saturday night. Liam Robinson, we spoke to him on Monday on Around the Waffle. He's been into some good form. He's kicked 7 or 8 goals in his first 2 games coming over from Norwood, and he provides that supply that the East Fremantle side needed after the likes of Tassoni and Corey Leggett left the club.
Yeah, and what about Avery getting injured? Oh, poor old Jack. Mate, he's a great fella, Jack, and was playing in the mids as well. And then I think he broke. Did he syndesmosis, was it? Or
no, it was a clean break.
Clean break of his ankle.
Yeah,
so
that's
is
right.
that season over?
Season's over.
Oh, man, Jack, if you're listening or watching that, I'll send you all the best, brother. That's very unlucky. He was a lovely fella at our club and very talented. And he's super close to Jacob Blight.
Blighty from Subiaco.
They're I think they're almost like best mates, and they've been training unbelievably in the pre-season. And both of them are injured now, aren't they? Because I think
Blight broke his ribs.
His ribs, so he's out as well. But yeah, both of those guys would have been going close, I reckon, to the mid-season draft. Because the bloody mid-season draft, did I say bloody on here? Mid-season draft. As a waffle president, it's a nightmare because they can just reach into your club and pull your best player at the middle of the season.
It's like that arcade machine where it collects the toys out of the claw.
Like that. And it's on the low sort of resonance where you can just grab something every time. So the Eagles could have 2 picks.
They could, yes.
Because Newton's going to go on the long-term injury list.
Yep, Newton.
And now bloody Robertson.
Yeah, that's right.
Not bloody Robertson. He's a lovely bloke. But, they could have 2 picks.
That's right.
And guess who's under their nose? Under the West Coast Eagles' nose. Bloody Perth Footy Club. So,
that's right.
And we've got Charlie Dean and all that sort of guys. So, and that's why Avery would have been in that gun, and so Jacob Blight, he should be in the AFL. I reckon no one was going to beat him this year. He was so fit, so strong, so amazing. He's got a broken rib now. I was thinking no one's going to get a kick on him, and he'll go back in the mid-season. But it might actually help Subi in a funny way because he may miss the draft now and he'll hang around for the year.
And we'll talk more about the Subiaco side a little bit later.
Liam Robinson. The old Robinsons are doing well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Lucas Robinson for South Fremantle and now Liam Robinson for East Fremantle.
On draft day, it's going to be very confusing when we watch that. So I'm going for East Perth only because it's
at Leederville on Saturday night.
Yeah, so mainly because of that. It was great to see East Fremantle back at East Fremantle Oval. Good Grocer Park. I know the bloke who owns Good Grocer's great fella. And they put up their little fence. So that kind of resolved. And hopefully going forward, that's all sorted, and that financially they get on top of everything because they're a great club. Adrian Barich and Wowie and everyone who's down at that place. For a club that has won 30 premierships, East Fremantle's won 30.
Amazing.
We've won bugger all. We've won 9. They've won 30. They're like the Essendon of the AFL. You need them going well. We can't afford to have East Fremantle go under or struggle at all.
Any club.
Yeah, but just that club in particular, them or maybe South, those sort of clubs they're the lifeblood of the actual competition. And hopefully when Perth gets back up, all our fans will come out. We'll be lifeblood as well. But obviously the Fremantle clubs are massive.
Absolutely. East Perth for me as well. But I reckon it's going to be another tight tussle. I mean, both these sides have played some really good games in recent times.
Yeah, the Sharks surprised you a little bit?
How
well
did.
they've done?
They did, yeah, because I thought they were going to struggle.
Murdoch as well.
Murdoch, yeah. That was a huge loss for East Fremantle. I thought they were going to struggle without those key players that I mentioned.
How good was Murdoch? I mean, he's done so much for the WAFL. Milan, I don't know if he watches. He probably would because we're talking about his mate Maney and him as well. Milan, you've done such great things for the WAFL because you've given us credibility. You know what I mean? And he worked 20 hours a week on himself leading in. Didn't have any aspirations in terms of or any idea that maybe he could get drafted. Obviously, Noah Long got knocked over late, and suddenly he was in. It's a great example of if you just keep yourself up and ready to go, you never know when you're going to get the call. And he got the call at the exact right time. He'd done the work, got in, did well. Obviously, he pinged his hammy, but he'll be. I think he plays this week.
I think he will play.
He will play this week. He's going to play in this game?
He's going to play in the Derby. So he's going to play in the Derby.
He is? You reckon he's in the Derby?
I reckon he'll be in the Derby.
Wow.
That'll be massive. And, of course, if he's not in the Derby, who knows? He could play on Sunday morning.
If he's not in the Derby, I'm tipping East Fremantle. Because if he's back there, he'll go Coco Bananas. Have you seen him go?
Yeah.
We played him in the first game we played him last year at East Fremantle Oval. And Parfitt has given him the biggest shit mixer of all time, tackle. It was incredible, right? And I thought, Milan's dead. He's gone. He'll have to go off on a stretcher. And anyway, he got up, shrugged it off. I don't think our bloke got reported.
No.
This is Parfitt, who's played in a premiership in the AFL. He got up and then he just took it to us like we actually ignited him.
He just tore it.
He just tore us a new one.
You can't kill Murdoch. You can't keep him down.
I was so impressed. And when he comes to they reckon the boys to it say when he comes to the the stoppages, you just can't miss him. He's buzzing around, he's jumping, he's bouncing, he must be a nightmare to play on.
He's a freak.
He's got so much energy. I'm so happy for him to be in the AFL because if anyone deserved it and never gave up on himself, always believed in himself. I'll tell you a funny story. I was talking to Andrew McWalter just after they drafted him. And he hadn't kind of met him personally. It's because the coaches never do they? It's the other guys do it. So they've signed him. And he meets him. And he couldn't help himself. He said, geez, you're not that tall, are you? To Milan. And Milan goes, no, I'm not. And he goes, so then apparently Minnie gets the thing and he goes, but it says here you're 180 centimetres. And Milan goes, yeah, I lied. Guess how tall he is? 175.
175,
He added 5 centimetres to his profile to get himself drafted.
Oh, that is brilliant. That is gold.
Mate, he's a genius.
But, I think East Perth on the day will be producing the gold. Speaking of the Eagles, that's where the last game of round 2 is going to be. Round 3, rather, is going to be. West Coast and Subiaco morning match down at Lathlane. Second 5 games, third of 5
What time
games.
is it?
11:10 in the morning live on 7 Plus.
Oh.
Yes, that is a bit unusual, but it gives the fans plenty of time to see the Waffle Eagles, and then just down the road, Optus Stadium, they can see the Derby. So it's not too bad after all.
Oh, is that why they do it?
Yeah, I think so these days.
That's for staffing, probably, isn't it?
Staffing, yeah,
So
staffing.
they can go from there to the Optus. You're right, mate.
So it's a good formula and
You
sort
know
of the norm
everything.
these
Well done,
days.
mate.
Fantastic. And, of course, Subiaco, we mentioned Jacob Blight out with, broken ribs, and hopefully he won't have to miss too long. He'll only miss 1 game. But Subiaco, for me, they're going to be the improvers of 2026. I mean, they've got Jared Schofield there as coach. They've got a mixed bag of results, but I don't think the results can be, being as the number one factor too early, because Schofield's got a lot of work ahead of him, and so have the players as well. The Hickmott boys were terrific. Also, Sonny Ciano, a young gun. Josh Robbins, who continues to improve
But a lot
week
of
in,
the
week
old
out.
blokes have been revitalised too,
They have.
haven't they?
Sokol came out of retirement and kicked a couple of goals in the first game.
I think Scoey's son's got a bad hammy too, isn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Taj Schofield with a hamstring.
So he's been out and Blighty's been out. But yeah, the biggest factor has been the coach. Because if do you know Scoey? Scoey, mate, he would be doing 100 hours. He would be doing more than any coach has ever done in the Waffle. I mean, Mark Stone is on it and really works hard, but I could just imagine, coming out of the AFL, Scoey having an AFL approach. He is turning that club around, and they're becoming a destination club where they want to be, and it'll be not single-handedly being driven by him, but you know what I mean, in an energy and effort sense. And come on, let's make every post a winner, and he would be pulling every string he can. He'd be shattered that Blighty's out. Obviously, his son's not playing. So it was a bit of a surprise they lost last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, sort of. But no, I think Subiaco.
Did you see that game or?
No, I was down at Claremont Peel, so I saw the replay during the afternoon. It was sort of a surprise in a way, considering that they came back from only scoring 2 behinds in that first quarter. But no, it really wasn't.
What happened, you reckon? Why did they get nailed?
I think just East Fremantle just had a little more of the ball in that last quarter, and they had one last play in the middle when East Fremantle got it from end to end within 30 seconds in that last kick of the day. But I don't think Subiaco will be too disheartened with that loss, because they know they've had a lot of positives, not just their captain, Greg Clark, 10 tackles last week, and I reckon he's going to be one to look out for. And in the ruck, Fraser Rickson, 38 hit-outs, so watch him against Bailey Williams on Sunday morning. That could be huge.
Bailey Williams will be in the Eagles team.
Could be, true, but
he won't get dropped, because he actually did well,
He did.
What they might do, the Eagles, is play 2 rucks. Because if you're going to go in against Jackson and Mason Cox, you ain't going to just use Bailey Williams.
No, you've got to have 2.
Hey, Bailey, you might need some help here.
Question is, who's going to be in that Eagles ruck in the Waffle? Who's going to be?
I'll be Flint.
It'll be Flint.
Because what happened last week, they took 26 over.
They did.
Yeah, and that's why I was so surprised West Perth lost.
Yeah.
Because 26 Eagles were over in Adelaide.
Yeah.
So they left, bugger all back, and they still got the job done. So, yeah, I think Matty Flynn will be taking them on there. So that'll be quite it's against what's the fellow's
Subiaco.
name? Yeah, the young bloke.
Fraser Rickson from Subiaco.
Yeah.
That'll be a good
Where's
battle.
he come from?
He's come from, obviously, the northern suburb zone, so obviously there's a lot not said about him yet. He's still a bit of an unknown in the Subiaco side.
Is he big? Is he
he's a big man. He is a big man. Yeah, around
205?
about that 200 mark, but he's going to be in for a big battle, Flinny, against Fraser Rickson, and that's one of the reasons why me and Rothy have gone with Subiaco, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
They're a living certainty.
They are.
Get him beaten like that, mate, they'll be steaming.
It won't be a blowout. I don't think it'll be a blowout, because the Eagles, they're starting to play some better football in the Waffle competition. They're going to be a lot more
And they'll get a
competitive.
few back, because they took a couple of extra over. They'll get probably Owies would come back.
Owies, yeah.
Did Champion play last week?
Champion did play last week against West Perth. That was pretty good.
Yeah. They just haven't got that small forward. Sorry to talk AFL, but they just haven't got that small forward, the Eagles, have they?
It doesn't look like
that is their problem. Liam Ryan's left.
Jack Williams could play in the Derby as well.
Yeah, that'd be horrific for the Waffle team.
Certainly would.
Because he was good, 4 goals.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That is round 3. Big weekend in store in the WAFL. We'll hold our breath a little bit. We'll take a quick break, and when we do come back, we're going to look at some of the WAFL W action, round 4 over the weekend. But before we do that, we're going to go on location to chat with Ash Gomes from the South Fremantle Football Club. Back after this.
Hey Siri, how to connect Bluetooth to Mac truck?
Sullivan 2, what's your position?
Just a midfielder, mate. On your left. Oh, come on, get out of the way.
Car Stereo Morley, proudly supplying and fitting quality car stereos for over 15 years, selling top name brands like Alpine, Focal, Rockford Fosgate. From a simple upgrade to complete custom systems, stop in and see Grant and the boys at 61 Russell Street, Morley, or visit us online at carstereo.com.au.
And you're back with us here on the Around the Waffle Show. Paul Persick and Adrian Barich with you on the Around the Waffle YouTube channel and, of course, on your podcast service. WAFL W we're going to get into in just a moment, Barra, with round 4 not too far away, split over 2 days. But I went on location this week. We're taking the show on the road this year, Barra, as you and many of our fans know. This week, I went off to the South Fremantle Football Club, and they have got an absolute star in their WAFL W side. Over 100 games of WAFL W football, a stalwart of the East Fremantle Football Club, and of course spent some time at the West Coast Eagles. But of course, her controversial departure from East Fremantle left a lot of sour tastes in everybody's mouth, none least of which Ash herself, and that meant a loss of the love for the game. But how did she pick that up? Well, I asked her on location this week, Ash Gomes and South Fremantle. Imagine you are the stalwart of your club and women's football in WA for a decade, reaching the pinnacle of your profession. Then the club you gave great service to cuts you from their list out of nowhere. For Ash Gomes, the 25-26 off-season saw that fate occur. But just as quickly, she found a new home, South Fremantle, and it's been a second light for her career.
Call it quick, I'll take it as quick. Makes me feel young, but I never thought it would be the opportunity I'd get, but very, very grateful for it now.
Her sacking from East Fremantle had seen her love of the game drop massively, but there was one point during the off-season where it was found again, and she never looked back.
You know, when everything fell out with East Fremantle, I think it was definitely hard to come to terms with. You know, you've been somewhere for 11 years, so it's always going to be a massive hole in your life after being let go. But I said it to Eliza Riley that very fortunate to have Sarah Wilshire and Jay Flynn from East Freo. You know, they said to me, don't leave the competition. Let's go to the gym, let's run, let's get you fit for pre-season. Wherever you go, they're still going to help me. So, you know, those two girls definitely got me back and slowly falling in love with that side of it again. And then obviously from the first session I got here, the girls welcomed me with open arms.
Her move to the kennel was a huge help in rediscovering her love of the game, especially having a welcoming playing group and coaching staff by her side. Speaking of the coach, Pia Folletti is in her second year as Bulldogs coach, and Ash has plenty of respect for Pia's professional approach, resonating with the way Ash takes the game.
She's so professional and so, you know, being a mum, I think it naturally comes out of her. She's so loving and caring and wants to give you 100% of her time when she can put down baby Josie. But yeah, Pia's been incredible and she works very closely with all of the coaches here.
And the professionalism of the playing group has even inspired the men's team, as was the case last week during the draw against Perth.
Got to use it as inspiration, right? So when the boys did make the grand final last year, obviously I was still at East Freo then, but you can see the girls are hungry and these girls haven't won a premiership in the WAFL W competition, so that's definitely a hunger for everyone in the group at the moment.
Her rediscovered confidence at South Fremantle has led to some remarkable performances since the season began, and she still has the desire to go to the next level.
The opportunity presented itself out of nowhere, sure, but you know, I'm so happy at WAFL level and you know, it's where I'm happiest, so WAFL's good for me.
Well, there's little wonder that Ash Gomes has been in terrific form in the first 3 weeks. In the first 3 games, she's averaged 20 disposals, and she's looking to keep that hot streak alive against reigning premiers Claremont down here at Fremantle Oval on Sunday. Down by the port, Paul Persick on location for Around the Waffle. Well, Well, there you have it. Ash Gomes, the South Fremantle star, of course, crossing the border, doing what I like to call the reverse John Todd and Steve Marsh, crossing on one side of the port to the other. But what a start she's had at South Fremantle.
She had the last, well, you probably hasn't had the last laugh, but she had the first laugh, that's for sure, playing in a derby against your old club where you left in acrimonious circumstances. I don't know exactly how acrimonious or whatever. I just know that it wasn't all fantastic and hearts and roses and rainbows and that, but she did the job, and she was almost BOG in that first derby.
Yeah, she was. Alania Polomeno pipped her for the best on ground medal. She was a star up forward, but Gomes terrific, and she's really carried herself very well in the midst of the departure and the controversy surrounding that. And of course,
interesting interview, mate.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. They've got a big test against Claremont. We'll preview that game in just a moment, but first, the Perth side, they are up against Peel Thunder. Of course, they've had a mixed bag to start the season because they challenged Subiaco.
No, not a mixed bag. We're going well. We had a draw last week.
Yes, you did have a draw.
Mate, you know Subi, they're no mugs.
No, they're no mugs at all.
Tell us how good Subi are.
You did hold them to a couple of goals, and it was only 12 points in it because, the way your side challenged very well, not so much, on the scoreboard when going for the goals, but the way you out-muscled Subiaco in a lot of those contests. And I reckon you could do so against Peel Thunder, who are bringing back Chloe Wrigley from a 3-game suspension.
Is that right? Don't worry, we are coming. And Peel obviously struggling a little bit at the moment in the WAFLW.
The midfield dynamic was a bit out of sorts after Wrigley got suspended, but she's back, and that'll bring them a bit of stability.
And it is down at Mandurah, right?
It is down at Mandurah.
What time's that game, by the way?
That's 4 o'clock after the men's league game.
Yeah, and what we're able to do, we've recruited very well, and Steph Walding, our coach, has done a fantastic job. We have a lot of ex-AFLW players, and they're just trying to get that chemistry going, and I have a feeling when they click, they'll really get a big run on. And that Subi, that was encouraging, that Subi. Our Rogers Cup were very strong as well. So, and South Fremantle and Subiaco, no mugs. So, yeah, I have a feeling here that we probably do pretty well here. I don't want to give them any ammunition, but I think our women's team are starting to come, and I wouldn't surprise me. Last year we won 3 games. No new franchise has ever won 1 game in their first year. We won 3. And I know it sounds like I'm pumping up my people, but I really feel like they could challenge for finals.
Their women's program is a very professional setup, isn't it?
Yep.
Obviously Steph Walding is coach, and obviously some great players. Isabella Shannon, who was runner-up in the Dara Kerr, and also Mia Karlshausen, Warren, and also a couple of others that have really shined in the Rogers Cup and have got their opportunity in the league side. And I reckon their team balance as well is looking a lot better now than, at some stages last year when it was still an unknown. They're in their first season, but they've sorted it out very well. I've gone with Perth in this one.
Have you as well?
I've gone with Perth.
Let me test you out. So you mentioned Isabella Shannon, obviously. Now, mate, when is the draft for the WAFLW?
It's not in for another 1 or 2 months.
No, it's next week.
Next week. Yes, I know.
This is the dilemma you're having. I mean, I love Isabella Shannon. Absolute star. Should be in the AFLW. And guess what? Probably next week. You know what I mean? Like, how does that... We're building a team and then bang. And, I can't say I don't want her to go or whatever. And it's fantastic. We get no compensation at all. But it is fantastic. But it is weird how you start your season and then suddenly you can lose... your best player or 1 or 2 of your best players. Just like that. And they just go bang. And you get absolutely no... I was just looking at, what did she have? 31 and 9 marks.
31 in that draw last week.
That would have got a bit of attention. Holly Britton, our other co-captain, she's a great player. She had 20. Poppy Stockwell.
Yeah, that's right.
You know her from South Fremantle.
From South Fremantle. That was a good get for Perth.
Yeah, she, just... it's a bittersweet thing, isn't it?
It is,
you know what I mean?
Hopefully it won't be her last game before she gets picked up next week, Isabella Shannon in her case, because she's very valuable for the Demons.
What do you think about that, though? Like, just plucking players at that time of the year.
It is a bit difficult.
Even the mid-season draft is tricky. At least you get a little bit of compo.
You do, but in this one, there should be some compensation for the clubs, whether it be in the WAFL, the SANFLW, or the VFLW as well. There needs to be some sort of compensation, but unfortunately there isn't, and it's still very soon in the season. We're four rounds in now.
Oh, well, that's what happens. I guess that's the nature of footy. But so the AFL and AFLW is that, and it goes down like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, as unfortunate.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, but that's life in footy sometimes. But let's hope we have a good game. We've both gone with Perth. Rothy's gone with Perth. But this This one is shaping up to be a real cracker. This one is a 12:25 down at Steel Blue Oval. This is Swan Districts and West Perth. Now, Swans lost the grand final last year, Barra, by a point. They are now 3-0 and beat Claremont in the first round by over 9 goals. It was a crazy win for Swan Districts. And then they backed it up. 9 goals. They held Claremont to 1.
Whoa.
Didn't see it coming.
So Claremont, are we thinking now no 3P?
Oh, Jack Schwartz is going to be after me for this. I had them pre-season to miss the 4.
Missed the 4 as well.
He's after me.
Yeah, I tell you what did you see? You must have seen something, did you?
Well, I think there's a theory about
was
chasing.
They lost players, or the hunted versus the hunted?
Yeah, but they lost Kate Orme as well. You know, quite an anchor in that midfield setup.
Great person.
Yeah, absolutely. Why I theorise that is, you know, you're chasing a lot of success, and how much fuel of success you can chase before those players get toward the end. And I'm starting to fear that it's starting to right now. And they should have put West Perth away the previous week.
Yep.
But they did thrash Peel Thunder, but that was a Peel Thunder side that is still struggling. So if they can't beat South Fremantle, then that's going to be huge. But we'll talk about that game in just a little bit.
You're a good judge, I think.
Possibly.
Seriously, because when I heard you say that, I thought he's very perceptive, because I know the Claremont team, because I live in that area and my kids are, so I knew that they were going to go off a little bit. A couple of my friends' daughters play for that team.
That's right.
And you could see that they couldn't sustain what happened last year, especially with Swan Districts and Subi coming.
Yeah, they're looking ruthless, no doubt about that. The Swans, especially with Taylor Edwards, she was terrific as well. Bella Edgley in the back line, Emily Maguire up forward, and also Lauren Quaife in the ruck. But Quaife got suspended during their win last week against East Fremantle. She got suspended for a couple of matches. So the ruck division, couple of matches.
What happened?
She was reported for striking. The vision was not clear. The umpire that was there on the boundary line was the first witness to it. Strike with the elbow. So she got suspended for a couple of matches.
Geez, that's quite unusual, isn't it?
Huge blow for Swan Districts. That'll decimate their ruck stock just a little bit. And they're up against the West Perth side, who are fresh off the bye. And they have regained some key players pre-season from injury. Former co-captain Kat Bennett, and they really showed that they can take it to the top sides. Against Claremont in their last outing, they trailed by 20 points, but they came back strong and only lost by just 2. And that was a mighty effort for West Perth to get within that 1-goal bracket. I think Swan Districts,
There's no way you can go against Swan Districts.
No, I'm not going against Swan Districts in this one. Even, a West Perth side that is revitalised and they've got something really good going. They've got a little bit more run in their game. Swan Districts 3-0 at home. They are a ruthless combination. And Jason
they're
Bloom, the
premiership
coach,
contenders, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're on top of the ladder. They're favourites at the moment.
We've got Henry, Baker, Riley, Barros. Is that Barros?
Barros,
related?
Jasmine Barros, yeah.
Related to the Sandover medalist? No,
I'm not sure. I'll have to work that one out.
And I finally got you on something.
Yes, you did.
That's the
well
first
done.
time you haven't had an answer. Bloody tick for Barra. Not mind you, I've got no clue either. But,
don't worry, mate. We're just having some fun.
Yeah, good on you. So we're ticking the Swanies there.
Yeah,
right?
Swans in this one, no doubt about that. Swans for me. Rothy's gone with West Perth. Rothy reckons that the Falcons could spring a surprise.
Was this before or after he had a crash?
This was before. Sorry, Rothy. But no, this was before, because we usually put together our tips quite early in the week.
How could you have made a case for that?
Well, especially with the way they played against Claremont, I reckon they're going to take that confidence and take it into this game against Swan Districts. Okay, it will be a challenge, but they've got.
He still thinks Claremont is Claremont. That's the problem.
Oh,
no, do you know what I mean? He still thinks they're the big dogs, but I don't think this year they are the big dogs. I hate to say that because my friend's daughters pay for that team,
that's right.
but I can tell that Swannies and how unlucky they've been, and Subi, how unlucky they've been last year, that they're so hungry.
They certainly are. Well, Subi have got the bye this week, so we'll have to wait a week before we see them in action again. But this game on Sunday, this is a cracker. South Fremantle and Claremont. I was down at South Fremantle training on Tuesday doing the on-location piece, and they look very confident of beating Claremont. Because if you remember last year, on that very ground at Fremantle Oval, they did beat them and ended their unbeaten run. But this is an entirely different story, because Claremont, of course, they're still the mighty contenders that they are. They've had a big win over Peel Thunder. But against the South Fremantle side, who are re-emerging, second year under Pierre Folletti as coach, who's done a wonderful job in reorganising this side and putting them together to be a very professional unit. And what was also a good sign, they drew a lot of motivation from the support that the men's team had. Because if you remember, the men's team played first against Perth, and then the women's team played after. And then the whole of the South Fremantle men's team came out and watched the entirety of the match after their presentation. So they've got a very professional unit over there, South Fremantle. And I reckon their forwards, without Zoe Huggard, who left to go to West Perth, still struggling to find consistent options, but they do have a good spread of goal scorers. And that could be the key. But having said that, Claremont, You never can
I
truly...
reckon it's got to be Claremont, doesn't it? I mean, we played South and we had the draw, and so we've seen them firsthand. I feel like Claremont now need to bounce back, and I know we're sort of saying that not the big dogs anymore, but I think they're going to be big enough to take care here. Is that the way you're going? Because I mean, Jamie Harkin, she just keeps. She's amazing. She just keeps
one
on
of the
going.
Multiple-time Lou Nitter medalist in the grand final, multi-time premiership player. Nah, just keeps consistent. She's one of the most consistent players in the WAFLW competition.
Sarah Viney's a great player.
Matilda Husband in the ruck for the Tigers as well, and Rachel Ortlip, who kicked 4 in the game against West Perth a couple of weeks ago, continues to fire up in the goals and really bounced back from a poor round 1 performance.
All right, tell me about Ruby Sargent Wilson then.
Well, she's a real key in the ruck as well, and also a great player.
She was unbelievable.
She was. She got
week.
the 5 votes in our Player of the Year.
30 and like 14 hit-outs and a goal, and they've discovered someone there. See, there you go. When's the draft? Next week or the week after? You mate.
Next week.
She'll be knocking on the door there too.
Could be. Having said that, Rothy's gone with Claremont. I've gone with Claremont. Who have you gone with
Claremont.
You've gone with Claremont as well. Should be a good game, that one, over there at Fremantle Oval. That is at about 12:10, and that is, along with all the other WAFLW matches, it's on the WAFL official YouTube channel in season 2026.
Oh, how good's that?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's more accessible. YouTube's not going anywhere, and it's a great way for the WAFL fans to access some great action in the Colts as well, and in the WAFLW too. One more game before we wrap up the previews for the action this week. It's East Perth and East Fremantle from Sullivan Logistics Stadium. 2:10 is the action start time on Sunday. Now, East Perth, they're still a young side, but they've still got some good progress. They beat Peel Thunder in round 1, had a tough outing against Subiaco last weekend. They lost by 39 points, but they showed good signs, especially through a couple of their younger players, especially Liz McGrath. She is a gun, and I reckon she's going to have a big outing against East Fremantle on Sunday.
So, let me get this right. Last week, East Fremantle got pounded by Swan Districts, right?
That's right, 23 points.
And East Perth got pounded by Subi. So they're both going to be pretty fired up.
A couple of heavy defeats they had.
Yeah, this is a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah,
and where's the game, did you say?
It's at Leederville Oval. It's at 2:10, and the conditions there are going to be rather pleasant.
Good timing, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to go with you there. You'll be the expert in this area.
I've gone East Fremantle because they've got a lot more depth in midfield. I've gone East Fremantle not only because of the midfield depth, but also up forward as well. They've got Siebel Wilson, who's their key forward, kicked a couple of goals in that loss to Swan Districts last week. They've also got McNaughton in there. They both were terrific in that loss to Swan Districts, and they've just got more weapons up forward compared to East Perth, who have really struggled to hit the scoreboard in more recent times. Last week was pretty good, and then, of course, round 1 when they beat Peel Thunder, they just need a little bit more continuity up forward, and East Fremantle do possess that and then some. So, and David Eames in his first year as coach going along very nicely. So I'm going with East Fremantle.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually, just looking at, because I think they played Friday night too, right?
They did play
Friday night. They've had a bigger break. It's a bit like the Eagles going in against Fremantle this weekend. They played on Sunday, the Eagles, and the Fremantle played Friday.
Yeah, that's right.
And the weekend before, they had 16-day break, the Sydney Swans.
Oh, it's crazy.
Against 6 for the Eagles. Mate, no wonder they're not winning after those first 2 wins. Yeah, I'm going to go for East Fremantle. Sorry to keep going back to the AFL there, but everything sort of flows down from there. Noah McNaughton.
Could get picked up next
week. Craig's daughter, my good friend Craig, who I played with at Perth.
On you, Craig.
He a very good coach too. I'm hoping at some stage he comes to the Perth Footy Club. But Noah, another one that could be in the AFL in a week or two's time, and East Fremantle go, what just happened?
Yeah, this weekend is going to be a real statement weekend for those players stating
everyone
their
will
case
be up and
draft.
about, won't they?
Everyone.
Isabella Shannon, Holly, Poppy, everyone will be firing because they know the scouts will be looking.
Yeah.
And here's a chance to be snavelled. And I just reckon it's great that they can get to the AFLW, but as a president, it does make things a bit tricky.
It does create a detrimental effect for the club, obviously having to have their players poached by all the AFLW clubs. But it is a great opportunity for them to go to the next level. Well, there we are. That does it for a big show here on Around the Waffle. A lot of laughs and a lot of fun as well. Thanks so much, Barra, for coming in at short notice. Really do appreciate it.
Anytime you need me, next time Ethan's car breaks down or whatever's happened to him, I'm ready, mate. Because you know where Channel 7 is?
Yes.
Just there.
Just down the road.
Just there.
Fantastic.
Oh, you can come. We can record there.
Yeah, we could.
Did you pay for this?
Yes, I did.
Well, mate, you don't have to. Come to Channel 7. We got all the gear.
Oh, fantastic.
Mate, I'm being serious because we've got so much stuff there.
No, thank you.
No, I know you'll probably edit this bit out, but we are very close, and we want to support anyone who's supporting the WAFL and the WAFL W, we love them because 7 West, that's what we're about. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your company as well. Have a great weekend in the football. And, of course, we'll be back on Monday. Denham Melrose is going to be filling in for Ethan Roth on Monday to recap all the great action in the WAFL and WAFL W. Have a great weekend of the footy. We'll see you soon.